Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Hose. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethose.com/terms.
You are about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
All right, we are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOCDALI. So today is Juneteenth, June 19th, and it marks the 160th anniversary of the freedom of slavery. And actually, it happened 2 years after Abraham Lincoln had worked and declared that slavery would be no more in America. But it's a historic milestone, very deep rooted. After years of advocacy, Juneteenth finally became a federal holiday where we remember, we reflect, and we educate ourselves on how slavery is still happening in many countries, in many different forms, whether it's through trafficked individuals, whether it's through the sex slave trade, through that this is something that we always have to be on the lookout for, and we have to collectively stand together to fight and prevent from ever happening again. Back on June 19th, 1865, Union Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, to announce General Order Number 3. This comes from Juneteenth.com, declaring that all enslaved people in Texas were free. Now, this was more than 2 years after Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation had officially ended slavery in the Confederate States. But this day that happened in Galveston, Texas, is known as Juneteenth. So this has become the profound commemoration of freedom, resilience, and the ongoing journey towards justice. According to Juneteenth.com, it's a federal holiday, and it's an opportunity for us to pause, reflect, celebrate together, and progress towards unity. And 160 years, I'm just baffled at the human, let alone the American attitude toward slavery back then and beyond, and how for economic reasons and economic gains, they felt that they could imprison a person, their family, attack them, rape, pillage, force them to work, starve them, and I can't even verbally describe how horrible it was for somebody who was to be enslaved, and to think that was still in a relatively recent history in human. And is still happening in other forms. Today, it just reminds you of how the evil that people could do. Whether it's the Hamas attack, whether it's the Nazis during the Holocaust, whether it's the cartels and the sex slave rings currently going on, child slave rings, and then or the slavery that we had here in America. The reflection, I think, is important because it reminds you that people can be very, very evil. Juneteenth, people kind of look at it as well, maybe this is political, and this is this isn't political. This is human. This is a human rights issue, and this is I think if we had federal holidays, this is probably one of the most important ones that I think should be honored. Now, people say, but Dr. Daliah, they need to make it a 3-day weekend. I think it was the Uniform Holiday Act where Lyndon B. Johnson made Memorial Day a 3-day weekend. No, I think Juneteenth should be Juneteenth. This isn't about 3-day weekends. Just like, remember Veterans Day, Armistice Day, where at 11/11 on November 11th, the date that we have some of these holidays is rich in history. So to make Juneteenth a 3-day weekend so federal workers get to have I disagree with that. They wanted to make Veterans Day a 3-day weekend and move it. And no, that was rejected. People said, no, it's supposed to be November 11th. You don't mess with that. Like Christmas. Christmas is December 25th. You don't mess with it. Not to make it work for you. So I don't think Juneteenth should be a 3-day weekend. Juneteenth is about June 19th. And, we've done very, very bad things to each other. The Civil War should have never happened because we should have never had slavery. The North and the South should have agreed. And, where we are today with politics was such divide. People say, I don't understand. How could we be on opposite sides of things? Unfortunately, that's been the way it's been throughout America. I mean, look at how many Americans didn't want us to leave the monarchy. I mean, there were people that rejected that. There were, there's always going to be some disagreement, but to see the divide that happened, especially as it pertained to human rights, as it pertained to, mistreating other people. All men are created equal. And here we were in, still, by the 1860s, not adhering to that. And I'm blown away that it took as long as it did. And here we are at the 160th anniversary. This should be the 1000th anniversary of it. But the emancipation happened 2 years later. The decree happened in Galveston, Texas, and that's why it's honored today. So, when you look at what's happening in the world and we might be in our own little bubble and say, okay, well, I feel good, I feel safe. There's people aren't safe. There's individuals being now hunted down to be used as slaves and trafficked, and it's an ongoing horrible human nature and aspect of humans that I don't believe will ever go away. I mean, when I hear people shout, death to Israel, and from the river to the sea, there are people that have absolutely no problem with death and mayhem. After the Hamas attack, seeing people that day happy and excited. There was somebody playing a saxophone while you saw missiles drop on Tel Aviv a few days ago. We have evil people, and Juneteenth reminds us that we can never let that happen again. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Hose. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethose.com/terms.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-878-6020 for a free consultation. For 16 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands get out of debt. You can feel confident when calling because Total Financial Freedom is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Battling for years and years stuck in the endless cycle of minimum payments could take decades. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-878-6020. That's 800-878-6020. 800-878-6020.
Hi guys, Dr. Daliah here. Addictions can sneak up on us and come in many forms, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, video games, porn, or something less obvious such as food, internet, or shopping. Addiction can seem innocent at first and then evolve into an insurmountable evil. In our book, Addiction Basics, Caitlin Kalikas and I dive into the common addictions and provide tips for identifying and preventing these before they sneak in and take over our lives. Addiction Basics can be found on Amazon or my website, drdaliah.com. Check it out.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
The cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Hose. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethose.com/terms.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So I got 2 separate emails on pretty similar subjects. One of you was very frustrated with your insurance and the telemedicine company you have to go to because every time you call the telemedicine company, they tell you to go and get seen, that they can't help you online. And then another email I got was, how are doctors not committing malpractice when they're not examining a patient and they're taking care of them when they've never met them over the phone? So this is interesting. So what's been happening, which is saving insurance companies a boatload of money, is there are now networks where you can, in the comfort of your home, even on Christmas Day, because I work every Christmas, you can, while you're in your pajamas, contact a telemedicine platform and a medical provider will talk to you, attempt to take care of you over the phone without you even leaving your house. It has been revolutionary. It was originally frowned upon because there was not a full exam. Things could get missed, but these telemedicine companies have come up with guidelines. that ensure patient protection as well as doctor protection. And so, like, for example, if a male says I have a UTI, most telemedicine platforms say men have to get seen. You got to do the urine sample. We have to figure out why. You might need to go and see a urologist. So there's a lot of things that telemedicine companies will say, no, this is something you need to be seen for in person. However, many telemedicine companies are starting to order labs. They'll order your mammogram for you. They might even order an STD panel. They may they'll refill medications, refill birth control, start you on birth control. So there's a lot of things that are being done online now that patients are able to take advantage of. However, the reason why telemedicine is able to grow is because it's supposed to be working in conjunction with your primary care provider. Your telemedicine help is supposed to be filling in gaps and an adjunct to your robust, comprehensive primary care you're getting in person. So where things are changing are some people are never going into the doctor, and they are able to use telemedicine primarily. And when a medical provider figures out that there's not somebody taking care of you and that there's something serious going on, they might say, okay, you need to go. You need to get seen. And so I'm noticing there are certain people where they're very easily able to blend in using telemedicine, getting things done because there's medical records available. They have a doctor. They have care that's been done. But when it's somebody who's like, I haven't seen a doctor since COVID, there's an issue. Telemedicine will usually give you a list of things they could take care of online. It doesn't necessarily mean they could always do it. Like UTIs, they could treat most urinary tract infections, but if we think it's an STD, if we think it's a kidney stone or a kidney infection, if it's a child, they're going to recommend you get seen and get a urine sample done. I know there's a lot of concern that specialists are having with care given online because when somebody says I've had 5 UTIs this year, the first thing a urologist or a gynecologist or even me as a family doc says is, let me see the lab results. What bacteria is growing out? And because before you would go to the doctor, they would do a urine sample. They'd give you an antibiotic, but they say, look, if this isn't a UTI, stop the antibiotic. I'll tell you when we get the results back. And usually within 24 hours, they'll tell us if there's no signs of bacteria. And in 72 hours, they'll have, if there is bacteria, the type of it. So we could work fairly quickly. Not to mention we could do the dipstick to, assess if we think this is more inflammatory or more infection. And so we would take the test. And then if you didn't have a UTI, I would be like, well, now why are you burning? Is it an STI, STD? Is it a gynecological issue? I had a friend of mine who kept being diagnosed with a UTI, and she actually had stage 3 cervical cancer. So specialists I know are like, look, make sure you aren't, ignoring the fact that, and you are still recommending that they get seen and try to get something verified. And in fact, many telemedicine companies will limit how many times you could get treated for a UTI or get treated for something online because they want to make sure something isn't getting missed. I heard of a case where somebody kept calling in for a lip lesion or a mouth lesion. They kept being given cold sore medicine, and it was cancer. So the next question is then what's going on with the liability? How do doctors can get sued. And there have been suits brought up if a doctor misses something. Oh, absolutely. If there's a lawyer and there's a patient who has damages, there's a lawsuit. In terms of how many of them get settled, when it gets settled, you don't really hear a lot about that publicly. Most of those are private in terms of the settlements. But, whereas lawsuits, become public record and then you can look at the lawsuit and see what happens. But how I urge doctors to protect themselves is if at all you cannot make a definitive diagnosis online, always recommend they get seen in person. Don't just say, well, let me just throw something at it and see if it works. If somebody's having chest pain, and they say, oh, I think I'm having heartburn. And the heartburn medicine isn't working. Get them seen. So if you're recommending that they still get seen and get a diagnosis in person and a proper evaluation, I think that does protect you. If you follow the guidelines, that does protect you somewhat, unless if you don't agree with the guidelines. So I told you about that patient. I've told you a million times. Many urgent cares will treat diverticulitis, where it's an inflammation of the colon in the left lower quadrant. Somebody calls up asking for 2 antibiotics for his diverticulitis, and I just didn't feel it. And that's where the instinct comes in. I'm like, look, I know you're having pain. I know you've had diverticulitis before, but I'm hearing you cough. Please get checked out for COVID and make sure somebody verifies your diagnosis. And he was a little upset, but he was still cordial, hangs up, and I get a message the next day. And he said, thank God you didn't just give me antibiotics. I would have been dead. What did you have? Well, apparently he had a blood clot in his renal vein, the left renal vein. That pain was not his colon. It was a blood clot in his vein. Why? Because he actually had COVID. Now, I'm not telling you this because I want everybody to think I'm, psychic. It's just, if a doctor is really doing the best they can online and they're like, look, I'm not convinced. I really want you to get checked out. That's not there. It's going to protect them. Now, some of you are upset because every time you call in, the doctor says, go get seen, go get seen, go get seen. Well, what are you calling in for? If you have, let's say, an infected ingrown toenail, an antibiotic may be prescribed online, but that doesn't solve the problem. If you have an ingrown toenail, I don't know if you've ever had one, you notice the redness at the base, not the tip of the nail, but you'll see redness going all the way down to the base, almost wedging like a triangle going towards the knuckle and the side of the toe. Why? Because that's where most ingrown toenail issues are and where the infection is starting. So you could throw antibiotics at it all day long. If somebody's not mechanically removing that toenail, you're going to have issues. Impacted wisdom teeth can hurt. Are they hurting because they're impacted, or are they hurting because there's an infection? So if the person is not a dentist on the other line and they are convinced it's an infection and they say you need to go in and get seen, that's proper care. They're not being wrong. Somebody has unprotected sex. A few days later, they have burning when they pee. It could be a UTI, but it could be an STI. If you have blood in the stool, we can't treat that online. Somebody's got to make sure it's not colorectal cancer. So I know it's frustrating, but a doctor will protect themselves by doing proper care, giving you their opinion. If they think it's something they could treat, give you an antibiotic. If they think it's bacterial conjunctivitis and not viral, they might give you eye drops. If they think, if they see a sty and you're saying warm compresses aren't working, they might give an antibiotic eye ointment, although the eye doctors don't like us doing that. They might treat your acne. They might refill a medication that you need. But, if you have high blood pressure and you haven't seen a medical provider, high blood pressure, affects your eyes, your heart, your kidneys. You need an exam. And so we are going to see medicine do more online, where people are going to get their blood work. They're going to get everything done on paper without a doctor even touching them or looking at them. But once we see pathology rise like we are seeing, where cancer's getting missed, skin cancer's getting missed, cervical cancer's getting missed, there's going to be a push to get people back into the doctor's office. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Host. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethost.com/terms.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
Diesel fuel cetane levels.
in many states, the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts. Due to a cleaner burn, there are less hydrocarbons and particulate matter in your exhaust. This reduces the blockage of your diesel particulate filter. Using Diesel Extreme generates 83% less DPF regeneration. The 6-in-1 Diesel Extreme formula also includes the most concentrated detergent on the market, lubricity enhancer, water demulsifier, rust and corrosion inhibitors, and a fuel stabilizer.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Host. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethost.com/terms.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. Daliah, 1-877-DOCDALI. Well, a friend of a friend was going to move to Washington State, I believe, because there were some opportunities with Amazon that they were going to take. This was about 6 to 8 months ago. Well, I'm glad they didn't take the job because Amazon, from what we're understanding, is about to launch their next round of layoffs. In a message to employees, this was on Tuesday, according to Gizmodo, Amazon CEO Andy Jassy talked highly of the company's embrace of AI, artificial intelligence tools across its company. And they said it will ultimately reduce our total corporate workforce as we get efficiency gains over time. So that is corporate speak for you're going to get replaced. Jassy called generative AI a once-in-a-lifetime technology that will change the way the company operates and says Amazon is already using it in virtually every corner of the company. They say Amazon already has over 1,000 generative AI services and applications in progress or built, and said that's a small fraction of what we ultimately build. So it's clear the company is all in on AI, according to Gizmodo. They're going to be committing to $100 billion in investing in AI technologies. Well, the company's 1.5 million employees are concerned. It's interesting. When I use Amazon, I can tell there's not a human on the other end. When I need a replacement or a refund, I mean, it has, it's all generated by the computer. Before, you had to tell somebody and you had to convince somebody and flirt with them or whatever. People like AI. People love the fact that they could just say, sorry, I ordered chocolate. It's all melted. They go, fine, here's your code. Drop it off at Whole Foods or drop it off at a UPS store. And people are loving interacting with a computer because the computer quickly refunds. The computer quickly responds. Yeah, if you don't think that I'm fearful that doctors are going to get replaced by AI, a good number of them will. Now that telemedicine is so popular, where people just want to talk to a computer and get their prescription. It's a matter of months. And so, if not already here, about 10 years ago, England piloted a computer program where you just typed in your blood pressure, typed in your numbers, and it spit out a prescription. So, humans are getting replaced pretty aggressively. And if a company needs to, improve their bottom line, if a company needs to save their jobs, then they're going to do that on the backs of the employees. So, this transformation, how long is it going to be? When is Amazon going to be having more layoffs? Well, layoffs. Well, from what we understand per CNBC, they've laid off 27,000 people since 2022, and then about 100 people so far this year. So they even laid off people from their books department. But now Microsoft is getting ready for layoffs. Microsoft is planning to cut thousands of jobs as they ramp up investments in artificial intelligence. It's interesting because with Amazon putting in $100 billion into AI, where are they getting that money from? So they almost, even if the human isn't being replaced, they need to show, well, for us to spend this money using AI, we have to get the money somehow, so we're going to get it from the labor costs. So even before the AI is up to speed, they're going to be making cuts so that they can claim, look, this is what we're doing to hedge the costs of it. So Microsoft, their cuts are going to hit the sales roles in particular. They're going to streamline the company workforce, according to Bloomberg. We knew that this was going to happen. They announced it earlier in the month. And May, they laid off 6,000 people. I think they have a total of 228,000. Not according to Daily Mail. They plan to use third-party firms to handle more sales of software to small and mid-sized customers. So I don't really know all the inner workings of Microsoft, but what I do know is many people that work for these companies are in trouble. And the big thing that is concerning the youth and young adults is, are they, busting their butt trying to get a degree for a job that is going to be replaced by AI? Even in medicine, I have medical students saying, what should I go into? The field of radiology. Back in the 90s, I said, computers are going to probably take this over. And they said, well, that's why we have to do more procedures. And you saw radiologists now start to do interventional radiology, where they're doing biopsies under radiology, or they're doing like if you have an abnormal mammogram, you used to have to go to a surgeon. Now the radiologist could do the initial biopsy. So everybody's trying to get into procedures or things where it could be hands-on, but there's only so many opportunities for hands-on jobs. And people are looking at nephrology where, well, you look at the kidney function, you look at what's going on, you have a computer decide. I don't want to see nephrologists go away. I like nephrologists and the amount of training they go for our kidneys and to manage our kidneys. But these are things where AI can take over. And, is it really true intelligence, or is it computers and automation? But the fact that you could teach a computer something, how you train a staff member, a human, and then you hope they come to work. You hope they're not talking to their coworker. You hope they're not playing solitaire, but you hope they're doing the job that you wanted them to do, like with data entry or coding, or, they're training a computer, and then that computer will do the job faster and never call in sick, never ask for overtime, never ask for maternity or paternity leave, never bring up a lawsuit. You see fast food where you need hands-on, they're going to robots. You hear more and more of these fast food companies, use robots that can make the hamburgers quicker. I don't want my hamburger built by a robot, but it's not that hard. You can have machines where it takes the patty, it defrosts it, it heats it. I flipped burgers Jack in the Box. Now, it wasn't hard. I love doing it. But you take the patty, the machine could take the patty, warm it up, stick it out with a hand. The bun plops up from some other robotic arms. The cheese, the lettuce, tomato, there's a little bit more heating so the cheese melts. And then the box. No humans. If the machine doesn't work, now they are going to have to hire techs for these machines. So if you're looking for a job, maybe learn how to deal with the robots and automation. But, well, the good news is we have two beautiful White House flags. Big, robust flags measuring 30.5 meters in height. Donald Trump put them up yesterday with a crew. Crew seemed really, really nice. He was joking around with them yesterday while reporters were asking about Iran. Of course, certain media outlets are complaining about the flags. Really? It's the White House. Let him have big American flags. So he installed one on, I guess, the East Lawn, one on the West Lawn. When somebody asked about Marine One, he said, we already, everybody, I guess that is involved in a decision such as that, all signed off on it. Whether it was the FAA, whether it was the Marine One team, whatever. But, of course, people are complaining. And, all I see is no matter, Trump could say hello, and they're going to complain at the way he says hello. You can't put up a flag. We have a nice flag on top of the White House, but to have these big, beautiful flags in the lawn, I like it because when there are, I guess they're going to have a new ballroom on White House grounds. When you have events, it's nice to have a flag right there. I like it. The more American flags, the better. I was blown away at how, when I was driving around from Boston to Maine, how few American flags I saw. I remember when I was in Boston years ago, there were so many more American flags. People are taking them down. They're un-American. What's going on here? So I love that part of the country. But I was just amazed at the dearth of American flags. The 1-877-Daliah. Don't go away.
This is your before and after story. Prepare for an incredible career in nursing. At Southeastern College, experience expert hands-on training. Learn real-world skills in our professional lab and simulated settings. And train for opportunities as a practical nurse, registered nurse, or career advancement with our RN to BSN program. At Southeastern College, your future is bright. Visit sac.edu to get started.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you. And be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99799, and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99799, and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99799. Again, FREE to 99799.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did, and just maybe someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show, 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So I'm sorry to sound like a broken record, but I think summer break is ridiculous. I am seeing parents drag their kids to Target, into Walmart, parents frustrated. They don't know what to do with their kids for the next few months. And these kids should be learning. I don't get that. I don't understand why Christmas break or winter break is only 2 weeks when there's coughs and colds and everyone's trying to travel and, bad weather. Yet the summer is 3 months. And listen, I love you teachers. I do not want anything to happen to your current schedule. I know I don't want to make you mad. We appreciate all you do. But I think, I'm sorry, somebody has to say it. It is flippin' ridiculous that our kids are sitting there watching TV, playing video games for 3 months of the year. Why aren't they learning? What a waste. These kids could be learning. They could be doing so much. Now, the devil's advocate is saying, but they're going on vacation with their parents. They're spending time with their family. If they are, that's great. But that's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing parents struggle with childcare. And they're complaining. They're like, look, I pay taxes, right, for school, yet I have to pay for childcare 3 months of the year. Not that school is supposed to be childcare, but parents aren't happy with that. And because they still have to work. Not a lot of people can afford 3 months of vacation. Right? In the real world, you work every day. Well, I mean, roughly throughout the week, although I know everybody's advocating for 3.5-day work weeks these days. So, I remember in my particular situation with my kids, I made them do summer school. I made them do summer camp. And they were saying, no, it's summer. I'm supposed to be resting. Do I rest in the summer? As an adult, you're going to be working. I go, summer break ends after school. There is no summer break. You have to support. Imagine telling your landlord, sorry, it's end of May, June, July. I don't pay rent. Your landlord will kick your ass out. And I explained to my kids early on, just because with school you get summer break doesn't mean that's real life. And I wanted my kids to learn. Even teachers tell me it is so hard in August or September to get these kids to remember what they learned 3 months prior. I go, why did they go for a 3-month break? But that's how we have it now. I say widen winter break by an extra couple weeks. I don't mind a month off in the winter because people are sick. They're not showing up to class anyway because they got COVID or flu. They're trying to race home, to see the family. Delayed planes. Let's widen winter break and shorten summer break. Maybe have a couple extra weeks off during the year. But you don't have a child play video games for 3 months of the year. These children should be learning year round. So what do? Well, what we had to do was we had to pay extra. We had to pay extra for summer camp. We had to pay extra for summer school, which I think is BS because you're paying for but that's how all these colleges and schools and, that's how they make their money. But I was grateful at least there were programs they could do. And I didn't have them in there all day, but keep up your learning. You know how much a child could learn in 3 flipping months? So what do? If you live in an area where, no, it's not year-round school, it's their home playing video games for 3 months, what should you be doing with them? Well, hopefully there are lots of, in your community, summer options, whether it's a camp, whether it's playing, whether it's, learning like, Girl Scouts and Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. I mean, they used to have things where, the kids would learn how to camp and start a fire and things like that. Try to have them learn practical stuff. If they're not going to be in the classroom, then teach them about practical things. Another thing is if you do have any friends that don't mind the kids learning and shadowing, if they're older, see if they could spend an afternoon with one of your friends at work to see how it's done. Remember I told you how I want schools changed, where the mornings are your academic, no more than 20-minute long classes where they're learning what they need to do, get it reinforced, and then all those core classes done by the morning. This way, if you have trouble hiring teachers, they only have to work a half a day. The afternoon are your other teachers that can introduce them to all the trades and all the different, depending on their grade level. Some will get exposed to construction. Actually, they all will have these few week or month-long rotations in construction, in plumbing, in farming, in manufacturing, in medicine, in law, in education. So that by the time they are sophomores, which I think high school should end at age 16, they know what they want to go into in life. They know what they want to do. They have seen a lot of what these jobs are, and they've gotten some training so that junior and senior year is now their associate's degree or their trade certificate. So by the time everybody leaves at the age 18, they have either an associate's degree or they have a trade certification so they could start working at age 18. High school done, there's your free college. But how it is now is, we're having lack of proficiency. We're having kids getting fat over the summer, getting eye strain, playing video games. What a waste. Our kids should not be home playing video games. So your job is to get these kids exposed to things. Let kids see what construction is like, what medicine is like. Nobody's going to let a kid be around a doctor's office. Absolutely. I had my friends' kids, but they want to follow around and watch. When I had my office, absolutely. Let these kids see what's out there. These experiences are going to mean a lot. Let them volunteer. You know how many places need volunteers? Food banks, shelters. Let them help and learn, depending on their age. Ask local charities, what do you need? Do you need pictures from kids for, ask the local hospital. Like we have Sunrise Medical Center and UMC Children's Hospital. Ask them if the kids in the hospital would like to have a card or some pictures from other kids. And then have your kids do that. Have your kids do toy drives. Get your kids to be active this summer and do something meaningful. Plus, it helps boost their resume. When you apply for a job, it's not, well, what did you learn? It's what have you done? Well, I did this, I did this, I did this, I organized this. You know how cool that would be? Have your kids help you do a garage sale, and they get to keep some of the profit. Get these kids to do things other than video games. And if you do have to work, talk to other parents and get a pod, like I told you, where what you do is you have somebody watching Monday, somebody Tuesday, Wednesday, so whoever has that day off will take care of the kids. And work out a system so that these kids are always doing something. They're around other kids, they're learning, and they're staying active. But summer break should be way the hell different than it is now. And I just don't understand why we are giving up weeks and months of our child's learning lives because we have a system of, sorry, it's summer vacation. If that summer vacation was you being with grandma and grandpa, you learning how to fish, you helping out on the farm, you making money, okay, you're being productive. But how many kids are being productive? It kills me to see the waste. Such waste. They should be out there selling lemonade. That's what I did. I hated summer vacation. Now, I understand I'm a workaholic, so I did lemonade stands. I was like, I might as well make money. I got to do something because I was sick of watching Price is Right and I Love Lucy reruns. So let's get to work, people. 1-877-Doc-Daliah.
Looking for an easy read that can actually help secure someone's future? Pick up a copy of Mark Falter's book, Common Sense Income Strategies. For the past 30-plus years, Mark has helped thousands of hardworking Americans secure their financial future by using strategies that continue to create wealth, whether the market is up or down. Strategies that will make perfect sense once you take the time to read this powerful book. Common Sense Income Strategies brings to you what Mark has been teaching in person and talking about on the radio for decades. It's not rocket science, it's a pretty easy read. You've worked too long and too hard not to see the fruits of your labor. Common Sense Income Strategies is available now on Amazon or by calling 866-764-2635. That's 866-764-2635. Common Sense Income Strategies by financial fitness show host Mark Falter. Secure your financial future today.
Having a life scholarship and being able to afford to go to college made me feel inspired to go.
When I got a life scholarship, it was such a relief.
I knew that I wanted to have an impact. Having a life scholarship through the SC Education Lottery was huge. It gave me the opportunity to make that impact right here at home.
The South Carolina Education Lottery. A better you, a better us, a better South Carolina. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.